And before I ask Mr. Glaser to expand on the answer you started when Congressman Farenthold offered you the chance to talk about the regulations from the Federal Government, especially Utility Act. Let me preface it by saying I had the opportunity as part of my responsibility as chairing the Subcommittee on Workforce Protections and looking at MSHA, the mine industry, and the coal mine operations, to go out to North Dakota this past August and to see the surface mining operations taking place there. Revolutionary in my mind to see what was being done. The reclamation of land, the enhancement of land, the opportunities for agriculture expanded as a result of that. The clean coal technologies that are taking place, the expansion of coal-fired plants that provided necessary energy not only for North Dakota but for Minnesota as well. Amazing job opportunities for people, stable employment, people coming from other states to work there, and then having a chance to look at the Bakken Reserve and the oil exploration going on there as well was amazing. The unemployment level that was there, that's the right direction for unemployment as opposed to what I experienced for too long back in Michigan. And then just recently to hold a town hall meeting in Jackson, Michigan, and to have, as part of the, Coldwater, Michigan, have a lady pop up and say, you know, Congressman, I have a husband that's working out there in the Bakken Reserve. He's out there because he can't have a job here in Michigan. And he doesn't want us to move out there because he wants to ultimately come back to Michigan to work. But he's doing what's necessary, and he has a good paying job out there, and there's an opportunity for us. And then to find out, and I don't know if we have this chart available, that the EPA regulations have already forced 25 gigawatts of generating capacity there. It's on the grid now. Generating capacity off the grid. In my state alone, over 1,200 megawatts have been forced off through energy regulation, excessive regulation, unreal regulation that's going on. In my own district, 345 gigawatts alone, that makes it more difficult when we see a turnaround taking place in Michigan in the auto industry that requires energy, that requires fuel sources. And when this lady who wants her husband back in Michigan working, when we see now a capacity necessary to deal with the increased job opportunities that are taking place in manufacturing finally again in the auto industry and supplier industries, the need for more energy, to have things like we're going to talk about, I want you to expand upon. Isn't it true that new coal-fired electric generating units, which are able to install the newest technologies, are unable to comply with Utility Act rule?
Yes, that is exactly the case, and you don't have to take my word for it. The major association of pollution equipment vendors went to EPA, and they told EPA that they frankly could not guarantee that their equipment would meet the level of EPA standards. It was so low as to be beyond the ability of the equipment to actually measure that level of emissions. So and we have the same thing with the Greenhouse Gas New Source Performance Standard. EPA has said, well, in order to build a new coal plant in the United States, you have to meet a level of CO2 emissions that EPA says coal plants frankly can't meet. So that to me is something that I don't understand, again, how you can say that you have an all-of-the-above energy policy that includes coal and at the same time say—
So there's a catch-22 going on here that says commence construction and cease construction.
Yeah, the catch-22 that EPA has put out there is they've said, well, under our greenhouse gas rule, we recognize that there are about 15 plants out there that have spent a great deal of money and a great deal of time trying to get and have received permits, and they're just about ready to go with construction. And so what we'll do in recognition of that huge investment, we'll say, you all have a year. And if you can get built, if you can start construction in a year, then you won't be subject to this requirement that you can't meet as to your CO2 emissions. Yet at the same time, they have finalized a rule, the MATS rule or MAC rule, that these companies can't meet because the emissions are so low, because the pollution control vendors won't guarantee performance of the equipment. So these 15 projects are effectively being strangled because, on the one hand, EPA says you got a year to get into construction, but on the other hand, they've got a rule that prevents them from getting into construction, and that's the concern.
Well, I appreciate that testimony. Mr. Chairman, just this past week, had the opportunity to fly over and be in China, India, South Korea. And I saw stacks, I saw emissions taking place there, nothing like I've seen in Monroe, Michigan, or Jackson, Michigan, with Consumers Energy, Detroit Energy, coal-fired plants that are being put in this catch-22 situation right now, if they have not already been put out of production because of the untenable regulatory climate that goes beyond the necessity and goes beyond reality and rationality of what's necessary to move our economy forward, and do it in a sustainable and quality environmental fashion as well. Thank you. I yield back my time.